Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here, and welcome to Movie Reviews, where we review movies. Today we're going to be talking about High Flying Bird, which is the newest Steven Soderbergh movie. Just got released on Netflix. This one's about a basketball agent who seeks to change the way that the game is operated during an NBA lockdown. He hopes to kind of be an outsider and bring the game back to the people, I would say, and back away from basketball being a business. Andre Holland is our lead in this movie, and he's really good. You definitely see, where he's coming from emotionally. He does become a fairly interesting character, and you've got a lot of great supporting performances too. You got Melvin Gregg is great. Bill Duke's performance was really good. Sonia San. I mean, everyone in this movie does a good job. It's an extremely talky movie, I must say. Most of this movie is people talking to each other in a room, and Steven Soderbergh is filming them with, wonky and unconventional camera angles as they go back and forth and do their dialogue thing. And the actors make this mostly entertaining. I didn't think this was a boring movie, but if you don't like dialogue, you will think it's boring for sure. It's definitely a movie that has some good ideas on its plate and is very quietly looking to be inspirational. The movie shows how with the technology that we have now, these industries can be given platforms that will actually give back to the players. I almost thought that this was a true story when I was watching it, but I later realized that it wasn't. So it's very realistic. It really feels like it could happen. It's definitely a movie for our time. But overall, I would say that this movie is pretty forgettable. The movie's extremely dry, extremely technical, giving you a lot of information. Not really much else going on the whole movie, and it's not that I expected an explosion. I didn't expect a big show-off game where they lift someone up on their shoulders. You can give me the ideas, but I also want to remember them because you emotionally captivated me into feeling them. There are some scenes where I do feel that. I wouldn't say it's a completely cold movie. Andre Holland, all the performers do a good job of grounding their characters, being true to the emotional motivations of each character. When I think about the themes of the movie, I don't really associate them with any scenes or any moments. I just kind of think the movie gave me this idea, but I didn't eat the idea, I didn't digest the idea, I didn't feel the idea. It just kind of is giving ideas. I don't think it's doing its giving its full potential as a movie. And Soderbergh is a director who often does not meet his potential because he's a master craftsman. But with movies that we've seen lately, for the most part, they're a little forgettable, and he's working with scripts that aren't that exciting. I can see things that are to like about the movie, but overall, how much do I remember this movie? Not very much. And I saw it today. As for Steven Soderbergh directing it, I don't know what interested him about it, because he's such a stylistic director, and there's not really a lot in this material that is making me be like, oh, of course he wanted to, experiment with this script because it's giving him all these opportunities to this visual stuff. But no, really all he's doing visually is just he'll put the camera in a weird place rather than filming a conventional shot. And obviously he's experimenting again with the iPhone technique, which he did in Unsane, which was also an underwhelming Soderbergh movie, but in that one I felt like the use of the iPhone was more justified. I thought that that movie was really interesting visually, and it kind of gave it a really cold, weird, raw feeling. Very unsettling. This movie, while I don't mind that it was shot on an iPhone and I thought it was well shot, it didn't really seem like it demanded to be shot on an iPhone. Like I said, it makes sense in theory that it's shot on an iPhone because of some of the themes of the movie, but that doesn't really mean that in the execution, I think that the iPhone is doing a lot. I actually think that maybe the movie could have benefited from some more close-ups, honestly, because I think that a lot of times it does feel like I'm removed from watching it, because a lot of these shots are from a distance, making sure to capture the composition of the room, but for what? I'm not really sure. Take a movie like Moneyball, for example, which has very, very similar themes, very similar main characters, but that movie is just so exciting, and you really feel the tension of everything that's happening. This movie's just so mild. It's relentlessly forgettable. The characters don't seem like they're going through that much turmoil, or at least you don't really feel it. It's like it has all the ideas. It's great at, firing information, and yeah, it's smart about how it does it. The dialogue is smart, but as a movie, what am I getting out of it? Am I getting an experience out of this movie? No, it's just kind of feeding me some ideas, and then I think about them and then I forget the movie because it didn't give me an experience. I wish the movie would show me examples of that theme that are cinematic. because it's fiction, it could have been a story about anything. It could have been a story about the ideas that this character has really taking off and facing more stakes, but instead it just really contains itself to these conversations that take place with different characters in different rooms. Well, I just don't understand why this movie insists on being so dry. You know, overall, I don't think this is a bad movie. I think that the style is decent, the performances are good, the writing's good, but is it memorable to me? No, it's not really memorable to me, so in that way, I can't really recommend it. And it kind of has a weird ending where it just kind of introduces something, and then it's like, oh, this is what the movie was about, and it's like, really? Was it about that? You could have just shown me that. Almost like when your first grade teacher tells you, show not tell, this movie pretty much just tells you things. I just can't really say that much good about it because there's nothing about it that is substantial. It's just all like decent the whole way through, and that's about it. So I'm going to have to give this one a 5 out of 10. I know that's a disagreement from the 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm not here to agree with anybody. I'm just giving facts about my opinions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And join us more for more movie reviews.